smiling. At least you're smiling, Stephanie. It's good to see you. Welcome to episode 60 something. I'm not even looking at the show notes right now. The Golden Mike Live. We've got an awesome one for you today. Just in case you haven't met me, my name is Marc Cordon. I'm a positive psychology coach. And more important than that, more important than being the founder of the Make Money Coaching Program, I'm a positive psychology coach. What positive psychology means, y'all, is two things. Number one, scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling on a daily basis in terms of your happiness level, right? So you can scale that out when you wake up or, after lunch when you've got sort of like the itis and stuff like that, or at the end of the day. Number two, scale of 1 to 10, how fulfilled do you feel like you are right now in terms of living your life? If you're around an 8, 9, or 10 on both of those, you don't need me. Just live your life. Enjoy it. Now, we got Stephanie McAuliffe with us today. Stephanie McAuliffe, author of The Message in the Bottle, Finding Hope and Peace Amidst the Chaos of Living with an Alcoholic. Stephanie is also the founder of Reclaiming Yourself, which works with folks who have gone through the trauma of either being or living with an alcoholic and sort of what that cleansing process is like. We also got something really, really cool today, which I can't wait to see, but we got some oracle cards that we're going to bust out. But before we even do that, Stephanie, how are you when I ask you, are you happy and are you living life to your fullest right now? What would you say to that?
I would call my life right now a 10 out of 10.
Oh, love awesome.
It. I have, and for years, I walked around like Eeyore with this cloud over his head, and I would say it was about a 1 or a 2, and I ignored it and whatnot. It's amazing, and it just keeps getting better.
Awesome. So for those of you who are watching live or watching the replay, Stephanie, I want you to put your hand up with me and make a little heart. I know there's a button down there, y'all. And so some of you have already pressed it. I want you to press that heart button to let us know you are living life in its fullest and you're feeling happy every day. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. Positive psychology is not about shits and giggles 24/7. It's not about double rainbows across the sky and always getting what you want out of life and being happy, like Pollyanna wise. If that's what you feel, well, technically you're either dead or you're a sociopath. So like,
does that mean I'm a sociopath?
I don't think so, but I do know that you have the ups, downs, and all arounds of life. Yeah. And everybody does have that. That's part of just your journey. Your heart beats just like the rest of us. Even if you woke up and you're like, I feel like shit today. I want to turn off this Facebook Live. Even if you've been working in a job for 30 years and you're like, you know what? Like, I used to know what I loved. I used to feel fulfilled, but something else is calling me and I don't know what. I feel weird, right? So keep that in mind because that is a part of your journey. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know your heart is beating. Now, here's the final thing. Here's the final thing that I think is absolutely quintessential for wherever we are, whether we're 1s, 10s, 3s, whether we're fluctuating all over the place and we're like, what the hell's going on? Wherever you are in your life, if you're optimistic about the fact that tomorrow is going to be as good and even better than today, if you're optimistic about that, there's another button down there that Stephanie and I want you to hit. And Stephanie and I are going to demonstrate it. It's the big old wow face. So I want to see you make a big old wow face, Stephanie. I love it. Give us the wow face. Let us know that you're optimistic about tomorrow. We got Robin Myers coming in. Awesome. Can't wait to be tuning in. Stephanie is laughing at her own show right now. It's the places we'll go picture that I put up. That's what we were laughing at. So given all of that, Stephanie, what's your story?
Holy crap. So, the Reader's Digest version, I grew up around alcoholism. I numbed my own pain for years. I married two alcoholics. I worked on Wall Street for 27 years, and my jobs had to get bigger and bigger and bigger for me to not pay attention to what was really going on. Because I didn't want to look, I didn't want to see, I didn't want to know. I found everything I could to distract myself until I was brought to my knees and I had no other choice. And that was when I started looking at the breadcrumbs and the gifts and my stories. And it took being laid off from Wall Street that gave me some time. And then I finally said, it was actually 2 years ago this month, I said, I don't want to go back. And then it was like, well, what do I want to create? And I sat in a little bit of a void for a while. And I sat in the unknown and I welcomed it. And I started work. I had already started working with some coaches. And when you talk about your feeling scale, one of the questions, the first group program that I was a member of, the coach asked a question on the first group call of, how do you want to feel? And I was stunned because I couldn't truly answer that question for myself. Because I lived life as a logical progression of house, car, job, projects. And I didn't really want to look. Like I said, until I had no choice but to dive in. And I've now, and I include a lot of this in my book of the legacy that I inherited. I'm the fourth generation of women in my family who grew up around alcoholics, who married them, who numbed our pain for years. There were other things that were happening of physical and psychological abuse that can really screw with your head. And so the last couple of years have been the unraveling of all of that and of finding the gifts and of finding the patterns, because there were some amazing gifts that were there for me that were waiting for me to look, but I had to take my own blinders off. And so that question of how do you want to feel? It's not just what number do you feel, but how do you want to feel? And how do you want to feel on a daily basis? And how do you want to live your life feeling? And even if you don't feel that way right now, so one of those that I live my life by is free. And there are days that I don't feel free at all. And free has changed over the last couple of years as it's gone deeper within me, as it's evolved. And so the nuances have gotten richer. It's taking one step each day towards how it is that you want to be living your life. Because we as human beings want to know how things are going to turn out.
We do.
We do. But we don't know. And if we're driving so hard to control everything around us so that what we want is manifested, we're closing ourselves off for some really amazing things. And one of my mentors says, this or something better. So we may want something, but what if the universe has something better in store for us?
Okay, so
and with that, I'm going to pull a card too.
Oh, so yes.
So for the listeners, one of the things I do as part of my overall practice is oracle card readings. They are prescriptive, not predictive. And I am just going to pull a card as a general for the people listening in live or later on. What does the universe want you to know? And what's the message from the universe? And it's go the distance in protection.
No.
And I'm just going to look at the book really quickly. but it's really, do you feel as if you've been wandering in the desert now for ages and ages and nothing's happened? When you conjure up the image of a desert, you picture parched lips, sunburned skin, and mirages, but there's more to it than that. So this card is all about going deeper. And if you feel like you are running in circles or the same things keep happening and you just don't know why, it's time to take a deeper look.
Mm, mm. Now, Jorge, I know you're tuning in from you're tuning in from Puerto Rico. I hope that you get to reflect on this one, man. It's good to see you, Jorge. So is that what you just do? You can just pull those at any time?
Yes.
Okay.
I've studied with someone for the last year and a half. Actually, my certificate is coming in the mail any day now. But I am a channel for spirit.
Okay.
And so, like the reading that I did for you a few weeks ago,
Yep.
it's you'll pick the decks,
Yep.
but it's based on your energy.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
with this, there's so many people who really do kind of run around in circles, and they're looking around for an answer. When a lot of times it's stopping what it is that we're doing and taking a moment to just ask spirit, what's the next right thing for me to do?
So true. So true. So let me ask you this. In our 1 minute pre-show talk, we were like, this baby's gonna go anywhere. I mean, we would, right? So let me ask. I'm curious about Stephanie growing up, right? And you're at this point now where you're talking about taking off the blinders. Do you feel like you were born with blinders on, or like how do you feel like you had those blinders?
So it's really interesting. I don't tell this story a lot. I was conceived in the back of a station wagon in a grapefruit grove during spring break over a six-pack of beer.
Oh, yes. What does the oracle card say about that?
And I think there was a lot of fear because my mother was a freshman in college.
Yeah.
My dad had been in the service, was a few years older. And there are studies that have shown that fear and anxiety can be passed both through the womb and from sperm. And so I think I feel that I was born into and with the feelings of fear. And it showed up a lot in my life. I was very fearful as a young girl. Some traumatic things happened to me, and I, at a very young age, put up my shields.
Gotcha.
And I tried to close out the rest of the world and protect myself, and I didn't let anybody in. But by putting up our shields, we're often closing out the good, and we let in the not so good.
So it's doing the opposite of what we're hoping.
Absolutely. Because law of attraction is, if I'm focusing on what I don't want, that's the energy I'm calling in.
Gotcha.
So after I divorced my first alcoholic, I said, I don't want to marry another alcoholic. And that's exactly what I did.
Because you were so focused on not doing it.
Right.
Right. Okay. So quick question for you. Like for folks who are trying to sort of break that habit, either when it comes to relationships or the way that they work with money or anything else, it's almost like reverse psychology, right? It's like, don't think about the thing that you like, don't think about it. And it's like the more you're told not to think about it, you think about it.
Right. And so that's why we actually need to go there to find out where the pattern comes from. Because once we have awareness is everything. So if we're just telling ourselves, mantras every day or positive affirmations, that's a mental left brain exercise. We need to actually go back. The gift is in the mess that we've tried to ignore. A lot of this has come from our early childhood. And we're taught not to express our feelings and our emotions and to not go there. And that's exactly where we need to go. Because once we understand where it comes from, we can then break the pattern. But if we
Right.
don't go there, it will continue to follow us. And really until we turn around to take a look at it.
Right. So it kind of is like the vicious cycle until you're aware.
It
Um,
will be.
and then you can pattern disrupt and then change the actions based on that.
Yes.
Is that the main piece of what you talk about in Message in a Bottle and in reclaiming yourself?
Well, in the Message in the Bottle, it's that book is my gift to people who have grown up around alcoholism and have been told to just go figure it out yourself because there's so much attention paid to the alcoholic that we lose a part of ourselves. And so I talk about my childhood, I talk about my marriages, I talk about fear, the 7-letter C word,
Yeah.
the legacy that we often inherit that we don't really even realize. And then coming to a place of forgiveness and self-forgiveness, which are two really big concepts. And I have a lot of introspective questions. So a person could pick up my book and read one chapter this month and another chapter next month. Because I've had people read it and say, yeah, I liked that chapter, but I'm not ready to go there yet. And I get it.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
that's my book.
So it's like one of those like 80s like choose your own adventure books, where you like skip to page 87 if you didn't want to read this and you choose to go here. Um, it really will, when you go back to it and you're ready for certain parts of it, it will reveal itself.
Absolutely. And then with my program,
Yeah.
that's actually 12 weeks.
Right on. Okay.
Which is first getting rid of the things that are taking up our time to keep us from paying attention to exactly what it is that we need to look at.
Okay.
And then it's finding those patterns and incorporating that information as wisdom and then creating a vision for yourself. And so it's taking my clients through that process because, and listen, we don't solve the whole world in 12 weeks. However, there's a huge amount of awareness and ahas that can be discovered in that. And so far, I've been doing all of my work as one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now creating my first group
version
of this program.
And I think it can be the whole idea of a pattern interrupt in your life where you're having that kind of massive aha moment can both be exhilarating and completely frightening, right? Because suddenly I'll use a tarot, suddenly all the towers are coming down, right? Right. And what does that look like when you're creating this new vision, one that's much more aligned with where it is that you can go, and what you can achieve. I can't go any further because I gotta know what letting go of the 7-letter C word that you just talked about is. I'm like, what's a 7? Is it compassion? I'm guessing it's compassion. Like, what is it?
No. Control.
Dang it, I should have known.
Yes, because what happens is for those of us who have lived around trauma or craziness or chaos or alcoholism, fear drives us to want to control everything around us. Because things are so uncertain. We don't know how someone is going to react. We don't know when they're going to blow up. We don't know what we're going to walk into. And so I equate it to, if you fill up the palm of your hand with water, when you're trying to control it, you're grasping. And all the water flows out of your hand. And you actually have no control over it.
So true. That is.
Whereas if you just let it rest, it's going to do whatever it does.
And I know we talked about this before. It still drives me crazy. Like, it's like just letting it rest. I'm like, what do I do now that it's resting? You're like, just let it rest.
Right. And that's part of letting go.
Yeah.
Because we are the only ones that we can control. We
Gotcha.
can't control anybody else. We can, based on what somebody does, decide whether or not we want to be with them or continue to spend time with them. But we can try to change them. Listen, I gave my second husband an ultimatum to go to rehab or move out, and he went to rehab. Did it work? Of course not, because he was doing it to make me happy. He wasn't doing it for himself. Yeah. And so this is where, when we give somebody an ultimatum or a threat or if you don't, I'm going to, we're trying to control.
That's completely it. And then that could turn into the vicious cycle again.
Exactly. Right? And then how did I get here again?
Yeah. Completely. So letting go of the seven letter C word, right? Which is often the fear behind it as well, right?
Yeah.
I really, really like how you've been alluding to the idea of us becoming free. And sort of, carrying old energy. What is? I'd like you to directly talk about that and sort of how that does relate to some of the old energy and the stories that are related to us.
So I carried around a lot of anger for many, many years. I was pissed that I moved a lot. I was... my parents split up when I was 6. I didn't really have much of a relationship with my dad because of just family stuff. And then we moved to Florida. I carried around a lot of anger. And if you think of the body, it's a finite amount of space. Mm-hmm. And when we don't have a vehicle to express ourselves, I was also threatened at a young age that the person would kill me if I told them what was happening between us. And so I remember in like 4th and 5th grade having massive sore throats all the time. And that was all the energy getting stuck in my throat. When we don't have a way to release the energy we're carrying, when we don't have a voice, when we don't feel like we can express ourselves, we bury it in our bodies. And it becomes toxic to us. And that's where the bulk of disease comes from. So there's estimates that between only 1 and 30% of disease is from the environment. And is
really,
so that the rest is stress and also environment, whether it be, listen, if we're working in a chemical plant all day long, that will affect us.
If we're doing the homework.
But the bulk of disease and illness is from the stress that we carry. Because at a young age, we're told, well, don't be too much, don't say too much, don't do too much. Be small so you can conform and fit in. And that's exactly what I did. And so I shoved all that energy down until I got to a point where really there was no more space left within me.
Okay, and you're saying it was showing up by oftentimes you were getting you're showing up in your throat.
As a young girl, yes.
Yeah.
And even, it's so funny, during holidays, I would often get lots of sore throats as well because I was dealing with the family and we don't deal with each other well.
Interesting.
As many families don't, which is, yeah, we're not taught how to communicate. Yet I found tools. So it was amazing that the last time the family all got together for Christmas a year and a half ago, I walked in and I didn't take the bait.
Interesting.
It was
Interesting.
it was like water off of a duck's back. And people, family members were looking at me like, who are you?
So I've
Because
got it. Yeah.
because we expect people to stay the same and we don't necessarily see the growth in each other. And we're so
Oh,
tied
absolutely.
and
Yep.
we're so tied to the old family hurts that holidays are just a powder keg sometimes.
So interesting. So I wanted to just throw this out there because I got you on the show right now,
Hmm.
uh, and all the king's horsemen and all the queen's men could not are just telling me that they're just telling me to just strengthen my back. But when I started my PhD program and my new job, I've had like it went from zero to like chronic back illness, like where I can't even turn left and right. And it's for the most part it's stuck with me. Even when I was like doing roller derby and stuff, it would not straighten out. I went to chiropractors, I went to other people, and they're just like, no, it's fine. You just need to strengthen it out. I don't think the pain is this phantom pain. It hurts, and I can't move my back. Would you say that might? I'm not asking you to diagnose me, but like, what could that be? Something that there's a stressor there, and it's manifesting in my lower back.
Yeah, there's energy stuck in your body.
Okay.
And my pendulum is saying yes as well.
Oh yes. Okay. So tell us about the pendulum. Tell us
Um,
about the pendulum.
I got this when I was in Tulum, and I attuned it to myself then, and when I was down there in January. And yes is counterclockwise, and no is back and forth. And so this is my connection with my higher self, my connection with spirit. And I would say, yes, you have some energy that is trapped in your back that we can talk further later on about this if you want. But yeah, it manifests. Because, for instance, when I was working on Wall Street, I had 2 heart attack scares. And it was the stress of the craziness of my job and my house and my alcoholic husband. And they weren't heart attacks. One was high blood pressure, which is just from stress. And the second time I was diagnosed with a hiatal hernia, which again is all that energy being stuck right at the top of my third chakra, which is our power. And I gave away my power for years. So, yes, this is how the energy of the things that we haven't dealt with manifest in our body. And this is part of what I help my clients with in our work.
That is so cool. I mean, I'm throwing it out there right now. If anyone's watching live or watching, well, you can't do it on replay. So, as y'all are tuning in and out live, we are with Stephanie, who is not only is an author and the founder of Reclaiming Yourself, but is uses these wonderful tools like the Oracle cards. And just to give a little bit of insight. So if you're looking for a little bit of insight, is it cool, Steph, that we might pull these with somebody who might raise their hand?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll leave this up for a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I must say that when Steph pulled some of the cards earlier this month, I was like, holy shit. It was quite the experience. Now I also want to talk a little bit about what was the mechanism that like, what was your aha moment that took away the blinders, or when you knew that the blinders were going to start coming undone? Was it the fact that, like, you had officially seen things repeat itself so many times that it became like the invisible became clear and you saw the disruptor? Or did you have to go to somebody who, had oracle cards and Reiki healers or anything like that?
So I worked with a number of different people, and it's
Okay.
interesting. When I first made the decision that I wasn't going back to Wall Street, things started to open up for me, because when I was trying to force my way through, I had no connection to spirit,
Okay.
because I had very little trust. I mean, I didn't trust my job. I didn't trust a lot of things. And as I've learned to trust myself more, I have been able to connect more. I actually step back. 2 years ago, I went to a workshop with Colette Baron-Reed, who I've studied oracle cards with the last 2 years, year and a half. And it was at her workshop I got my first deck, which is Wisdom of the Oracle, which is what we're working with today.
Mm-hmm.
And it was during that weekend, it was almost like I was given permission to not go back to Wall Street. And I started playing with the cards. I started doing the exercises. I mean, we don't go from 0 to 100 overnight, but it's slowly tapping in. And I found that, when I do readings for people, it's the energy that they're not seeing. Because like I said earlier, we're so trying to work in our logical minds, and our logical mind is what's going to keep us going in circles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so things just started to unfold after that. And then I took Reiki 1 because I wanted to learn how to do self-healing. And then I went all the way up through Karuna training, because I'm doing interesting energy work with that. I've reintegrated my 10-year-old self who ran away a long, long time ago. And so it's really looking at some of the wounds we may have been carrying with us, resolving those, and then inviting ourselves back. So that's part of reclaiming yourself. It's really looking at, what did I give away and what am I missing? Mm-hmm. Because when we are conforming or living in chaos or working a soul-sucking job, we lose a part of ourselves. And sometimes we lose multiple parts of ourselves.
Now, do you think that's something that that was a piece of you that you always had inside of you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, it's interesting. I've had recently a memory of a conversation of someone remarking to somebody in my family that I was a healer. But at that point, I don't know that I could have stepped into the work that I'm doing, because I had things that I needed to heal for myself. And I feel like I needed to go through this crazy journey in the roller coaster of the last N years.
Yeah.
To get to this point, to know that, I don't know that there's a lot that somebody could bring to me around, living around alcoholism that I haven't seen. Other than being physically beaten, which I would say get the hell out. And that was something I never experienced. But the craziness of, not knowing what you're walking into, and of feeling so numb that you don't even know how to make a decision to move forward. I've been through all of that. So I think, and the thing is we all have the capability to tap more deeply into our intuition and into our higher selves. It's making the choice to use the gifts that Spirit's given us.
Yeah. Now, I'm playing devil's advocate now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking about watching someone who's watching live or watching the replay and saying, oh, this is a person that's like just totally woo woo. What are they talking about? Connection. Without trying to defend yourself, what is what has been the real transformation that you've seen people go through as a result of this? Or even better have you seen science back this up?
So for the first part of your question, my clients have uncovered old patterns and freed themselves of those, and have created visions for themselves of how they want to move forward in their life. So yes, I have absolutely seen that. The science behind this is a little bit more challenging. There's science behind the fear that we are sometimes born with. For instance, scientists are starting to look at veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan,
Yeah.
the males, and to study their children because they're finding that anxiety can be passed through the sperm. Studies have shown that newborns can smell fear in their mothers. There's fascinating worm studies, one of which I love, that they injected a gene into a mother worm, and when she saw fluorescent light, they shocked her. Her offspring received that same gene, and when they saw the fluorescent light, they recoiled as if they were going to be shocked, but they had never been shocked. And they showed this gene being passed for 14 generations. So there are times where we will feel like, I don't know where this came from.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason we don't know where it came from, because it could have been passed through from prior generations. There is science behind children of alcoholics are 4 times more likely to become an alcoholic themselves. They are 3 times more likely to become involved with someone with a substance abuse problem. And over 50% of us have been affected by a loved one's alcohol dependency. So when you look at those statistics, and that's just measuring the effect on the alcoholic, what they're not measuring yet is the effect on the family of the alcoholics.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when I went in with my second heart attack scare, I didn't raise my hand to say, yeah, I'm married to somebody who's drinking like crazy and I don't know what I'm walking into and the stress is killing me. All I knew is I had a huge pain in the middle of my chest and I couldn't breathe. And so when we talk about the science, we have science from that perspective.
Yeah.
And alcoholism is a contributing fact. It's directly causal in 60 types of diseases and is a contributing factor in 200. And so for those of us who are affected by living around it, when we're so focused on someone else's illness, we're losing ourselves and it's causing stress within us.
Oh, it's wild. It's wild. So it is more than woo. And the stats are quite out there. We got your buddy Nikki Tobias. Nikki was dropping some Nikkiism. Nikki, how do you know everybody? Hey friends, I love it when my friends meet one another and work together. Speaking of work together, can we drop a tarot card an oracle card for Nikki?
Does Nikki have a question about something, and it shouldn't be yes or no, because these are more prescriptive, they're not predictive. Nor would I want to do a predictive reading, because a card, I could say turn left and you could turn right and end up in Albuquerque. So
sure. So Nikki said, I'd love a card about my job search or online dating life, please, Stephanie.
Let's pick one or the other.
So what do we got? What do we got, Nikki?
How about dating?
I would love to know the whole dating piece because Nikki picked apart my online dating account on our last Facebook Live. So,
I heard about that.
oh, you did?
So the card I pulled is here and now. And what this card is let go of the past, learn the lessons, and incorporate that information as wisdom. Stop thinking too much about the future. What can you do today to focus on how you want to be present with whoever you're meeting?
That's awesome. So, Nikki, any thoughts? Or we don't, I know when you did mine, I just listened the whole time. I didn't have any thoughts. I was like,
Well, it's also meant to be a conversation. There's some people
yeah,
who do readings and they just, but this is meant to open up a conversation because so often, if we're so focused on, we do need to feel into the essence of what it is that we want. And there
yeah.
are certain characteristics, but when and how it shows up is none of our business.
Mm,
And if we're so fixated on, if you think of like worrying about a situation, you could come up with 842 scenarios and one of them might happen. But when you think about all the time and the mental energy that's expended on all of the what ifs,
yeah.
you're losing the gifts of where you are right now.
Yeah, and I think the other piece that I'm getting from this is that this isn't completely prescriptive in nature. Like you draw a card and you do what it says. It's more along the lines of maybe like like holding a mirror up,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, which is why I could see you drawing a card for all the viewers, and everyone interprets that in a different way. Just like when you're
Right.
looking in the mirror, same damn mirror,
Yeah.
but the image you see in it depends on the perspective that you're taking on life.
Yes.
So yeah, Nikki, thank you so much, and thank you for helping me with my Facebook profile. I changed it, and then my dating profile I changed it. It's working. It's red hot right now. Anybody
Just
else?
like your hair.
Say what?
Just like your hair.
Just like my hair. Just like my hair. Anyone else? We have a couple. We have a couple more minutes to do this, but this is really fun. But I also want to talk about how your business is expanding right now.
Yes.
What's
So
going
very
on?
exciting.
Yeah.
For the first time, I am offering my program, Reclaiming Yourself, as a group program.
Okay.
Because I looked at the calendar and we are starting on August 15th. That is going to take us right through to before Thanksgiving. And this is giving people time to prepare for the holidays, understanding the clarity of the triggers so that they can walk into their holidays and have people look at them like, who are you? And I want what you're having. Because it really is, it's looking at us. And we all want to feel a sense of peace. And one of the things that Holidays with Families does is it stirs up so much old stuff. And peace is one of the last things we often feel as the holidays are approaching. So this is why I decided, because it's 12 weeks and it's a secret Facebook group, so people can share all they want. Nobody can see that they're in it or see what they're sharing. And it's all kinds of goodness with it, of worksheets and training and group calls. People will have the option to do some additional one-on-one work with me if they want. There's prompts within the group. Like I said, there's the program in and of itself. I've made it really affordable. So anybody who wants to read, because I want as many people as possible to walk into their holidays and have an understanding of where some of the stuff came from, of having cleared it, because we also do energy work, because I do distance Reiki, and we play with the cards, and those are part of the program. The program really is going through these 12 weeks, which is based on the Native American medicine wheel, and coming out with a vision for yourself of how you want to move through the holidays. And then in a bigger way, how you want to move forward for yourself, having an understanding of some of this crap that's been following around that you've cleared. And this is all work that I've done myself. It's work I've done with my one-on-one clients, and I will still do one-on-one work. So if people want to do the one-on-one, they can reach out to me. Let's have a conversation and jump into it.
And I'm putting up your website right now, but is that the best way to get in touch with you and hear about the group program coming up?
Probably the best thing is for people to send me a Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
So send me a message and we'll set up a time, and I do everything via Zoom and we can talk and make sure it's a good fit. And I'm really excited about this. So like I said, if I can arm people to basically give them the capabilities to be able to let down their armor and just walk in feeling really fucking strong and peaceful, there's nothing like that feeling. And I'm really proud of this program that I've put together. But the idea of the group just came to me the other day, and then I looked at the calendar and I was like, oh, that works.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, number one is I was about to acknowledge you for not cursing for a full hour. That's why I was like, y'all, if y'all get to know Steph, like when you get to know her on a deeper level, there's so much to Steph, y'all. There's so much to Steph, and that little piece at the end is the tip of the iceberg with what you're gonna get with her. A lot of fun to always be talking to you and hearing from you, Stephanie. We got your information that's clickable. We got your website that's clickable. If there's anything that you want to add, please put it in the live comments. For those of you who are watching live or on the replay right now, I want you to share this out. August 15th is coming up pretty soon. And how many spots do you have?
I have 20.
20 spots. So 20. Yeah. I mean, those are going to go pretty quick. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we're sending this out. We're sharing this out as a community. Stephanie's taking her time out, and what's the least that we can do is share this out. She pulled a couple tarot cards for us. She pulled a tarot card for Nikki, or sorry, not a tarot. I keep calling it an oracle card for Nikki. And I just wanted to thank you for being here. I want you to come back, and maybe one day it's just going to be a day spent on just people just calling in and you doing some stuff with them and just doing some real quick introductions with that, because I do have some energy that I want to talk to you about getting unblocked. I'm ready to get rid of this damn backache, and I don't know what's going on. So here's the deal. It is the Reclaiming Yourself program that's going to be starting on the 15th.
Yes.
Stephanie, you've said it all. You've been through it all. You've been through it all multiple times before you got hit on the head with a hammer. And you were like, fuck this shit. I'm changing it up. You know, But you're here now and you're doing amazing stuff. So I want to wish you well, and I want to thank you for coming on this show. I don't know if you
Thank
know.
you.
Oh, anytime, Stephanie. I don't know if you know, but this is the part of the show why we call it the Golden Mic. So, Stephanie, I want you to imagine that a golden mic is coming down from your ceiling right now. Exactly. That's how it comes down. It worms its way down, right? And it's stopping right in front of you. And this golden mic has the ability for up to 2 minutes to broadcast all across the world and translate into every single language. When I hit the button, you'll be live. So, Stephanie, your golden mic is live now.
Life is not logical, and it is not to be powered through. There are beautiful gifts in the trail of breadcrumbs that lead you backwards. And as we explore those, new trails get presented to us in front of us. But it's the looking back and of clearing the old that we really create space for the newness in a new embodiment that we want to create for ourselves.
Stephanie, I want you to give me a little fist bump and hold on to that mic. Now I want you to drop that mic like it's hot, Stephanie. Drop that. Call 911. Stephanie, you've said it all. Go to her website. You can click a personal message to her now. Remember to share this out. Thank you for coming out. This has been another episode of The Golden Mic with Stephanie and Marc. I got one final question for everybody, and it's this. If I ask you how happy you are and you say that you're a 10, and I ask you that you're fulfilled and you say that you're a 10, what is your responsibility to changing history for the better? So we'll see you tomorrow.
And don't remain in between worlds.
Oh!
I pulled a final card.
Talk us through it.
So sometimes you can have a foot in the old and a foot in the new. What do you want for your new? What do you want stepping forward? Step out of the darkness and take a step for yourself.
Double drop on the golden mics. This has been absolutely awesome. Stephanie, thank you for taking the afternoon with us.
Thank you.
Love you, Mama. Stay on board. Let's talk.
Yep.
Okay.